So Voyager Digital, the company behind the Voyager stock, as well as the VGX crypto token, is in a 657 million problem. And not to mention, they announced here recently, they also lowered their withdrawal limit as well, which we're going to be diving into these two things in today's video right after this. Welcome back to the MTI Show. I'm Mike the Investor, where we talk about crypto, NFTs, as well as passive income. Now, if we head right on over to Voyager, we can see that the withdrawal limits has been lowered, and this was updated 21 hours ago. You can see 10,000 max total market value within a 24-hour period, and there's a max total of 20 withdrawals in a 24-hour period. And so it used to be 25,000 per 24 hours. Now it is 10,000. And so for small account investors, this isn't too much of a big deal, but for big account investors, this is definitely a big deal. So take this as you will, and remember, only use me as an informational source, not a source for financial advice. So you have to figure out what's best for you on what you're going to do with Voyager. Are you going to keep your assets on Voyager? Are you going to transfer them off if you have that ability to? Are you going to sell your assets? You have to make that decision, for yourself. But let's go ahead and dive into the press release for their 657 million problem. And then I'm also going to share with you at the end of that what I'm personally doing. Let's check it out. So looking at the Blockworks headline, 3 Capital on brink of default owes Voyager around 657 million. Now I am going to go to another article, which is 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗣𝗏, because I like how they break this down. Not only do they owe Voyager money, but as we just took a look at, Voyager, slashed their daily withdrawal limit by more than 50%. So this is something definitely, investors need to be aware of. And as I just mentioned, you can see 10K from 25K, right? So definitely be mindful of that. But let's kind of dive into the details. Now, as we move on down, you can see the New York-based firm said Wednesday it has aggregated exposure to 661 million. Now, Blockworks says 657 million, and 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗣𝗏 is saying 661 million. So there's about a 4 million difference there. The Singapore-based 𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏 Capital, also known as 3AC, in the form of stablecoins and Bitcoin. Now, Voyager Digital lent money to 𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏 Capital, but the firm may not be able to repay the loan, which is not good at all. Now we move down to Voyager said it may issue a notice of default to the hedge fund after it requested a repayment of 25 million in stablecoin USDC by June 24th, and a subsequent request of repayment of the entire amount in USDC and Bitcoin by June 27th, which is this upcoming Monday. Now, as we go ahead and move down a little bit further, you can see that 𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏 Capital, also known as 3AC, is a Singapore-based crypto hedge fund that manages an estimated 10 billion in assets, but it is in trouble. It's currently at risk of going bankrupt after failing to repay several loans worth of hundreds of millions, according to executives at a various firm that are owed money. Now, if I head back over to the Blockworks, there's a couple things in here they break down, which I liked as well. Now, you can see the crypto firm exposure. You can see 15,250 Bitcoin and then 350 million in cash, right, in USDC. Now, let's go ahead and move down a little bit further. Now listen to this. As Voyager seeks to recover capital from 𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏 Capital, Voyager Digital detailed the terms of its recent deal with Alameda Research for a revolving credit line of 200 million cash and USDC and 15,000 Bitcoin, the latter being currently worth about 310 million. Now, the proceeds of Alameda's credit facility to Voyager are intended to be used to safeguard Voyager customer assets amid the ongoing volatility in the crypto markets. Now, let's move down a little bit further. No more than 75 million may be drawn down over any rolling 30-day period according to the credit facility terms, and the company's corporate debt, which is Voyager, must be limited to about 25% of the customer assets on the platform, and additional sources of funding must be secured within 12 months. Now, outside the credit facility, Voyager has about 150 million cash and crypto, as well as approximately 20 million of cash that is restricted to buy USDC. So that's about, 170 million. So we have 𝗖𝗢𝗑 indirectly holds more than 22 million common shares of Voyager, representing nearly 12% of the company's outstanding common and variable voting shares, according to Voyager's press release. So essentially, 𝗖𝗢𝗑 owns 12% of Voyager. But check this out. This is where things get a little bit of interesting, and then you can add a little bit of speculation here. The FTX chief executive, Sam Bankman-Fried, who founded and owns 𝗖𝗢𝗑 Research, wrote in a Twitter post on Tuesday that FTX takes seriously its duty to protect the digital asset ecosystem and its customers. So we can see that FTX owns 𝗖𝗢𝗑 Research. 𝗖𝗢𝗑 Research owns 12% of Voyager, right, through their stock. So worst case scenario, we could see, if something just completely bad was to happen and Voyager had to, let's just say, default, I could see Voyager being acquired, right? And so 𝗖𝗢𝗑 Research wouldn't have gave this line of credit to Voyager if they didn't think, they couldn't potentially pay it back, or if they didn't see some type of incentive for them giving this to Voyager, right? And so they're not just going to throw that money down the drain, even though they know Voyager is kind of on the hook right now for over 600 million due to Three Arrows Capital hedge fund. And so what am I currently doing with this? Well, I still have assets on Voyager. However, I'm not adding any more, funds to the actual platform at this time until we figure out exactly what is happening. So yes, I'm still holding certain cryptos on Voyager, but I'm not actually putting no new capital into Voyager at this time. However, remember, you have to do what's best for you. Remember, make that decision based off of what's going to put you in the best position, what's going to give you the most peace of mind. Because if you are nervous, if you think something's going to happen to Voyager, hey, make that decision on what fits you best, right? Don't listen to what I'm doing. Remember, I am just giving you information on what's going on. Use me as an informational source, not financial advice. But hopefully you all gained some value from this video and I answered your questions as well. And I will see you on the next one.